and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be talking about the Ccrn exam. So if you're interested, please stay tuned. The Ccrn exam is given by the American Association of Critical Care Nurses. On this exam, it's 150 questions with only 125 questions that are calculated. On this exam, you have to have 87 questions correct to be able to be Ccrn certified. I received a lot of questions on Instagram about the Ccrn exam, so I decided to make a video about the exam to give a little bit information about the resources that I use and some brief information about what to study. So the resources that I used mainly for this exam was the Barron Ccrn exam book, and I also used the past Ccrn practice questions. So for the Barron Ccrn book, it gives you basically a breakdown of the subjects that will be on the exam. It gives you a pre-test at the beginning and it gives you 2 post-tests at the end. Also, with each subject, you get questions at the end of each subject. So like cardiac or pulmonary, you will have questions at the end of each of those sections, and the amount of questions that are given are basically the amount of questions that will be on the Ccrn exam. So for the cardiac, there is about 30 questions. So you're given 30 questions in the Barron's book, as well as pulmonary, you have about 28 to 30. So they give you about 28 to 30 questions in the Barron's book. For the past Ccrn practice questions, I got that offline. So it's basically an online practice test bank. And with these questions, I studied as basically took practice questions for each subject. So I mainly started on the subjects that has the least amount of questions that will be on the Ccrn exam, and for those I was able to take all of those questions and to repeat those questions if needed. For the subjects that are more lengthy, I try to take my time and study for those. So for the cardiac portion, the pulmonary portion, the neuro portion, I tried to take my time with those questions. It was about 600 or so for each subject. I was not able to complete all of those practice questions, but with each practice question, I did take my time, and if I didn't understand something, I read the rationale and I wrote the rationale out, so that when I go back to studying, say if I'm at work or if I'm out somewhere, I can look at those notes to be able to study even though I'm not by a computer. A few days before taking the Ccrn exam, I took questions. So they give you an option to do like a practice questions, or if you're taking like an actual exam, they give you 2 different alternatives to take. For the past Ccrn, I took about 2 to 3, I think it was about 2 to 3 exams on the past Ccrn website, and with those they give you straight 150 questions, and with the 150 questions you take them straight. You're not able to go backwards, and at the end it tells you what percentage you got on each subject and the overall percentage. It does not tell you your average of how. It does not give you an option to know your probability of passing the exam. So with those, it tries to just make high in the portions, such as the portions that are high on the exam, such as the cardiac, the pulmonary, the neuro. But you also have to focus more on the epic questions as well, because I think it's about 30 of those questions on there as well. So on the exam, I took about 2.5 hours to complete the exam. It does give you a total of 3 hours to take the exam, and I just wanted to take my time on taking the exam to make sure that I passed. So I took 2.5 hours on there to study. I studied for about, I think I studied for about a month and a half. No, Yes, I studied for about a month and a half, 2 months for the exam, and then like close up to the exam date, I just took practice questions. I didn't read much. I was just looking over some of the information that I needed to look over. So the main components you should focus on this exam is the cardiac portion, pulmonary portion, neuro. Focus a little bit on the ethics because it does cover a good amount on the exam. And also make sure that you understand the hemodynamics portion and also understand the medications that are given for the hemodynamic portion. The cardiac and hemodynamic portion is a great deal on the exam, and it goes in great detail about the patients and what to give, what to expect if you see this, and then it'll ask you what is going on with the patient. So make sure that you study those portions very well. And if you are studying more for the questions that have more questions on the exam, you will do well. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Also, if you have not already, please subscribe to my blog. I will leave it down below. I did make a blog post about nursing certifications and why you should be certified. So make sure that you go over and read that blog post and subscribe. Also, don't forget to subscribe down below, like this video, and I will be coming back with more content. Thank you.